The year was 2005 and Microsoft released their brand new console, the Xbox 360, with a new gaming concept, achievements. A year later, Sony released their brand new console, the PS3, notably without trophies at this point. Quickly realising that Microsoft's achievement system was gaining traction and attention, it wasn't until 2 years later when Sony finally implemented their trophy system. It took a couple of years for some developers to kind of get used to how trophies and achievements would work. It took some trial and error, but this isn't necessarily down to Microsoft or Sony. They were still a great system to be implemented into any game. But what about Nintendo? Trophies and achievements aren't for everybody, and there are indeed arguments both for and against them. But regardless of how individuals feel about them, they have changed the face of gaming forever. Whether it is just a way of artificially extending the game, adding some extra bits, or making the game a bit more of a challenge, there are a lot, and I mean a lot, of trophy and achievement hunters out there. There are even multiple websites dedicated to offering guides and walkthroughs to earn those platinums and 100% a game. There are even cases where games sell just because they have an easy platinum trophy to obtain. Like I said, there are arguments both for and against it, but we aren't here to debate those arguments. We're here to tell Nintendo that they are missing out when it comes to a collection system. Why, I hear you ask? Well, it's simple really. A system which allows you to earn badges of honour in-game are commonplace, and as I said earlier, it is even the selling point of some games. Personally, I love trophies and achievements, and although I'm not a platinum hunter, I do try to at least get as many trophies as possible. I feel that me being in that kind of mindset enables me to get more out of a game rather than just play it, complete it and be done with it. I try and get more for my money in that game, and having those trophies and achievements makes that possible. The example I'm going to use is Code Vein. It's not a super difficult game by any means, but it's certainly not an easy game to platinum, and yet I have that platinum trophy. I've done pretty much everything in the game, and I've seen so much of it. If the trophy system hadn't have existed, I probably would have finished the game once, thought, yeah, great, played it, completed it, moved on to the next game. I felt compelled to get the platinum as I'd enjoyed that first playthrough. Let's extrapolate this situation and look at Breath of the Wild. It's a huge game and it's a great one to play. There are many people who would play it, get to the end and think, what a great game that was. But imagine if it had trophies. You'd get to the end, well done the game says, but there's still so much you didn't see. The trophies could give you a challenge. They could lead you to places which aren't even part of the mainline story. You know the places I mean. Ultimately, it could make games last even longer. It could give brand new experiences to people who love to play games. Let's take Super Mario 3D World for example. Most people who play the game may not even be aware of the secret worlds, let alone the super secret world. They've missed out. But given the option to pursue some trophies, they could find it so much more entertaining and find those secret worlds, rather than just go from the standard start to finish. And that right there is an example of people getting more out of the game than what they realised they actually could, therefore getting more value for their money. Back in 2012 when the Wii U launched, there was some chatter among gamers who thought Nintendo may implement such a system after the huge success of achievements and trophies. But no such system was implemented. Sure, looking back it may have been a wise decision from Nintendo considering how poorly the Wii U performed, but that's for another video. Then in 2017 when the Switch landed, the chatter about a collection system was even bigger, and yet it still didn't exist. I'm not really surprised that the Switch didn't include anything like it, even though I, along with many others, would have welcomed it with open arms. Nintendo has always been different. They've always avoided being the norm. They've never tried to follow along with the trends, and that's almost always worked for them. There's probably no need for them to even implement such a system like Microsoft or Sony. And to be fair, their consoles, they don't even need to try and be like the PS5 or the Series X in terms of power. They will more than likely succeed in what they do. Yeah, I know there are a few exceptions here and there, things like the Virtual Boy and once again the Wii U, but For the most part, Nintendo has always succeeded in what they're trying to do. You just look at the sales numbers of some of their consoles and they are absolutely astronomical. That just shows that Nintendo bucking the trend is what works for them. Nintendo doing Nintendo-like things is what makes them unique, and it's refreshing to have a company always being different. Microsoft and Sony just trying to copy each other and get one up on the other all the time can become boring, but every now and then it would be nice to see Nintendo book their trend and implement some mainstream features. There could be more than just one reason for all of this though. It could be that they just don't have the capacity to create such a system, or the ability to keep permanent track of everything via server, or it could be that they don't even know how to do it. That's unlikely, but you never know in this day and age. Although to be fair, if they wanted to do it, they could throw a bunch of money at it and just get on with it. I don't think any of us really know the real reason why Nintendo has never done it, well, unless you actually work for Nintendo of Japan. So for now, we'll probably just have to deal with whatever Nintendo decides to do. Will we ever see a proprietary trophy or achievement system on a Nintendo console? No, probably not. Could Nintendo benefit from implementing such a system? Yeah, as long as it was done right. Will it make people happy? Well, to be honest, it doesn't matter if it does or not. As we spoke about earlier, there's arguments for it and against it, but it will still provide more value for your game to a large chunk of gamers, so a collection system would inevitably provide much more on a Nintendo console than it does right now, and that, in turn, could result in bigger profits in the long run. Trophies and achievements aren't a short-term idea. They're here to stay whether we like it or not. Even when we're on our PlayStation 7, we'll still be trying to earn the Platinum Trophy on Final Fantasy 19 and still trying to get everything done in Resident Evil 10. We'll still be trying to get every trophy for Halo Galactic on the Xbox Series Z, and looking for a guide on how to find all the collectibles in Assassin's Creed Sovereignty. Yeah, I made those last ones up, but you can bet your last penny that we'll see Final Fantasy 19 and Resident Evil 10 one day, with trophies and achievements from both Microsoft and Sony, but probably nothing as such on a Nintendo platform. So my closing argument for all of this is this. Nintendo, I really think you should implement some kind of trophy or achievement system on your next console. You probably won't listen to me as I'm just one little man on YouTube who has no significance to anything at all, but I think you would benefit greatly from a system just like this. Thank you for watching, and if you've enjoyed this video, please consider subscribing to see more just like this.